first. Your drive sprocket, your front idler, and everybody in the industry uses a sealed and lubricated pin and bushing set. The pin and bushing, this is the pin, this is the bushing. The seal, we seal oil in to eliminate internal wear. So if you eliminate internal wear, you get concerned about the external wear. The bushing gets wore from the outside from riding on that sprocket. And the rail part of this is this part right here. You see the rail? This is the rail. Pin and bushing are inside.
Okay.
So as you wear this machine, as you wear the pin and bushing, it drives on the sprocket. The sprocket will wear, or the bushing will wear on the bottom side of it. When it's halfway through its life, halfway through the rail life, halfway through the pin and bushing, before it gets to the pin set, they normally put this down, take the track off, send the track in, and get a pin and bushing turn. What that guy will do, will drive the pin out, turn this 180 degrees, and reinstall it. He will not seal oil in it at that time, so you're probably 2/3 or 3/4 of the way through the life of your rail. But by the time you get this second side of the bushing wore out, your rail would be wore thin enough, you have a chance of busting one of them, and your rollers would be wore out. So that's the life of a track system with any manufacturer. Everybody uses a sealed and lubricated pin and bushing set. Deere has come up with an extended life, a hardened system that they put over the top. Cat has come up with a system that they have an extended life track, but we have come up with an extended life track. We call it CELT, Celt Track. We put a bushing over the top, and we're the only one with this type of setup. We put a bushing over the top of the sealed and lubricated pin and bushing set. This is an option. We give it a very robust sprocket. And see, you can tell the ones that have the extended life on it because of the very large sprocket teeth on it, to accommodate the large bushing that's on here. Coming in contact with that, as that sprocket comes in contact with that, it rolls that just slightly as it's setting down into this pocket. So what happens, it will automatically turn this bushing over its life. So you do not have to put it down for a week for a pin and bushing turn. Another nice part about this design, this is a run to destruction design. When this is wore out, your rail system is wore out. So you simply order a whole new rail system with the pin and bushing set. You have it there at your shop. You simply split this track, drive off of one, drive onto the next, and bolt your pads onto the new system. So you don't have that 1 week downtime halfway through your track wear. It's less downtime even at the end because you have the rail system there on hand, drive off of one and onto the other.
So you change the shoes at the same time too? You just change out the entire thing, or not
you would probably, your rollers would be shot at that time, and you would change your rollers out at that time.
What is generally that time? How long?
It all depends if you're running in sand, it will wear very fast. If you're running in clay material, it will extend the life of that track very well. So it could be as short as 1,000 hours in sandy conditions continuously. And it could be as long as 4,000 hours in clay material. And this system will double the life of that track.
Are they Burco?
These are, I don't know if it's Intertrack. Intertrack.
The operator also.
But they are case, they are case designed and engineered with patent.
Okay.
So nobody has went to that system yet. So it's a very nice system. The only place that you wouldn't want it is in extremely rocky conditions. This is a hardened bushing. You could break this bushing out and then you would have trouble. So you wouldn't want it in continuous rocky conditions.
And is
rock boulders like which we have here, an occasional rock, it's perfect for that. If you have sandy conditions, it's perfect for that. So 2 times the length of the life of that. Another thing that track guides are standard. This is a track guide, a rear track guide. This is a front track guide. They are standard on every machine. Rock guards would cover this inside part of it. And rock guards should only be used when necessary, because keeping rocks from rolling in there, if you would cover that up in a clay situation, you would get packing, undue packing in there. You wouldn't be able to monitor your rollers underneath.
Yeah.
So all of your rollers are positioned down here, and they will cup after as they wear. But so in terrible sandy conditions, you might want the rock guards, and rocky conditions. Tension is another thing that weighs very heavily into the length of time that this track system lasts. The tension is done with a grease gun right here, just like we showed you on that small track cutaway of the compact track loader. It has a cylinder in here, and you're pumping that cylinder up, changing the distance here of this idler. It has a big spring on the inside. Everybody uses this type of system, and it's done with a greaser. You should not, as an operator, be pumping that, greasing that. They think it's a greaser, so they're going to pump it up, or they're going to grease it. You would tighten your track. If they hit that and just without knowing what this does, they need to monitor their tracks, and their tracks should have a 1 to 1.5 or 1 to 2 inch sag. There's a decal.
Inch and a half to 2 inches.
Inch and a half to 2 inch sag on it. So that would be as if you put a straight edge from the center roller to the sprocket back here, and you'd have your sag in here, and that sag should be 1.5 inches to 2 inches.
So if it's 2.5 inches, we tighten there.
Correct.
Just use a grease
If you
gun.
were in clay material and moved into a sand job, they would tighten on their own. Sand tightens that track up. It's almost opposite of what you'd think. You'd think sand would kind of fall out of there and loosen up a track. But a sand, because of the big grains, will tighten that track up and wear it very fast. Clay is small material, small granules, and it will loosen that track up. So that's why you need to monitor it and change it. If it does tighten it up, you simply put a socket over that, back that out about 2 turns. There's a slit in the threads of this greaser. Back it out about 2 turns, and you'll see the relief come to this track, and it will loosen up.
You leave it
Run
like
it a
that.
little, nope. Tighten it back up, run it a little bit, and double check it. And then if you have to pump it back up. So any questions on the tracks? One other thing about the tracks, we have what we call a gauge in the dozer business. Gauge is center to center of the track width. A narrow gauge machine would take narrow pads. You could have a wide track machine like this is with narrow pads. So wide track should really say wide gauge. Doesn't sound as pretty, I suppose. That's why we didn't use it. The only way that you can put wide track pads on it is by getting the wide gauge. So your center to center of your tracks are out wider. It takes a wider blade and wider pads. But you could get a wide track with the narrow pad. So, okay with that?
Yeah, man.
Okay, let's talk about serviceability. Serviceability is fantastic on our dozers. All but our 650, the cab tilts up. So all of the L series, including the 1850K and the 1150K, they all have a tilt-up cab. You simply remove 6 bolts. So here's where the ROPS comes down. There's a ROPS built within this cab. You remove these 3 bolts on this, 3 bolts on here, and it has a jack handle on the other side. The jack handle is stored on the other side because you need to have that other door open. Otherwise, when you tip it up to that side, it will crush that door. So we store that handle on the other side so that you leave it open, grab that handle out of there, put it in here, pull the bolts out, and jack it up.
Alright.
This will tilt
No, it's
very
a matter of
easily
friction
like
there.
this.
Quick.
So serviceability is fantastic for everything underneath. What do we have? Test ports. Very clean, easy to check everything. clean hydraulic system. Another thing. So we have a hydrostatic filter for our hydrostatic drive, and we have a hydraulic filter. Both accessed right here.
Very nice.
Hydraulic drain is right here. So it's a remote drain. Connects here, connects actually here, and drains out. Sight glass right here. Steel tank, slight pressure. Panels will open up like this shows here. So you can open these side panels, and you can lift this bottom panel right out for full access to the side of that engine. So very good ground line serviceability. Easy to check, so people will do it. Come around to the front a little bit farther. Very large cylinders, largest cylinders in the industry, fed with the largest valve. Your hydraulic valve is underneath there, and your hose routing to get to. But we have the largest valve and the largest cylinders for the best blade forces in the industry. Other things that we do for visibility, keep that hood very narrow by the operator. We can see the line of sight down here very well. We clip the bottom corner of this. It's not a squared off corner. It is clipped off, it is gusseted for strength, so you can see right down to the tip of the cutting edge here. And that's critical for performance, because that operator needs to know whether he's pushing material. When you get a small pile of dirt in front of there and a large machine, you can't tell if you're pushing any material. But if he would back up and then all of a sudden see over the top of his blade that he left a pile, he has to run back and get that pile. So visibility is critical to that. Dual path hydrostatic drive. We showed you that in the demo, where we can change the speed of either side of the track. We slow one side up, speed up the other side to do a full power turn. Power turn will give you productivity and do a full turn. We can keep this blade full, coupled with the good blade forces with the cylinders. It's very productive around corners. We don't break one side. If you would put a brake on one side, put brake on one side, you would tend to spin out on the other side where the power is. So a dual path hydrostatic drive, we can change the speed and keep 100% tractive effort. 10 preset speeds like we showed you in the demo. A couple other things that I want to point out on here is the turnbuckle that's underneath this guard right here. This guard is actually the wrench to turn that. So you pull one bolt out and you can ratchet this, you can turn this turnbuckle out to give you a better approach angle to this blade. You tilt it ahead in very hard conditions, soft, rainy conditions, you would tilt it back. Finishing conditions, you would tilt it back. But in hard, dry, compacted material, lean it ahead, and it gives you good penetration, holding the grade. And this is standard equipment, along with the wrench. This has a grade system on it, so the engine access is the same over here. And your electrical components are under here. Here's where your handle is. It's stored here because this has to be left open when you tilt that cab out. Because your hinge point is here, and you would crush this door if you tilt it up with the door down.
What's this one?
For the Trimble system. So you dual batteries, 24-volt system, master disconnect here. Here again, you can lock this right here with your own padlock, so you can leave it out on the job site. Other electrical components underneath here. Fuel tank is right here, accessible from the back, and a drain right here. Let's take a quick walk around the 16.